Greetings and salutations, everybody. I'm Michael, aka Trainman3985, and I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of a new series called Turntable Talk. This will be a series of videos I will post from time to time talking about anything railroad related, as well as give my thoughts and opinions on them. Now, this series was inspired by four fellow YouTubers: Transcontinental Railfan, PensyFan19, Worldwide Railfan, and Cal Unit Productions. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that's been trending for a while, the CSX Heritage Units. Now, I'm sure lots of you as rail fans know what a heritage unit is, but I'm pretty sure there's some who don't know it from Squash Bean Salad. So if you're in the latter half, this little segment is for you. That's Squash Bean Salad, and that's a heritage unit. I know, I'm so funny! So now, a little bit of history on heritage units. Mergers and acquisitions have been a part of railroading since they first began in the 1800s. Today's Class 1 railroads are made up of smaller, different railroads that are old as railroading itself. So a modern railroad will paint one of its engines and later a few in a past railroad's paint scheme to honor the history and heritage of what made that railroad a success. Heritage units began in 2005 when Union Pacific honored railroads that it has bought over the last 20 years. Amtrak soon followed the trend in 2011 when it came up with some heritage units to honor Amtrak's 40 years of service. Norfolk Southern followed in 2012. Canadian National followed along with Canadian Pacific in 2020 and 2019 respectively. So now that you know what a heritage unit is and the history of it, let's address the locomotive in the shed. Now, CSX did do some heritage units in 2015 with mixed to questionable results. They were just a regular old CSX locomotive with a railroad's logo applied to the side of the nose. This led to the locomotives being nicknamed sticker units. Needless to say, not everyone, railfan or not, was amused, to put it lightly. Well, fast forward to 6 years later, CSX announced that they were making another batch of heritage units. CSX reviewed one of many heritage units, ES44AH number 1827, with the Baltimore and Ohio scheme, followed by 1972, the Chessie system, 1987, the Seaboard system, 1976, Conrail, 1869, Chesapeake and Ohio, and the latest member of their heritage units, 1850, the Louisville and Nashville. CSX is doing them in an interesting way that looks very unique. It looks like a regular YN2 modern locomotive, but then it fades into the past railroad's colors, which is very unique and an ingenious idea. Now, I know not everyone likes them, and not everyone's going to agree on this. When CSX started these heritage units, they got a lot of mixed results. There have been cries such as CSX messed up badly, or this is the biggest sign of laziness CSX has ever done. I disagree with that. The CSX sticker units were not the greatest, and granted they did paint their office cars in their 3X Amtrak F40PHs into a B&O inspired paint scheme. But I like to think that CSX is trying something different and unique other than the other Class 1 railroads, and I can respect that. This isn't the first time that a railroad has done a half-painted job on their locomotives. In fact, it can be traced back to a few decades earlier. The two railroads that come to mind are Southern Pacific and Norfolk Southern. In the 1930s to the 1950s, Southern Pacific painted 5 of their 4300 class 284 Mountains into daylight colors. The cab and the tenders were painted up in daylight colors. This was for their service on the San Joaquin Daylight. Fast forward to 2015, when Norfolk Southern was starting their rebuilding program with their GE AC44C6Ms. A few of the engines were painted in what's called the horsehead scheme, where the cab was painted and the long hood was just left in gray. Now, I know some people in the comments are probably going to type, Michael, the color black goes well with any other color. It's like a pattern. And to which, on that, I do agree. But it's the idea I'm getting at. In fact, I have a theory on how CSX made their heritage units. One of their employees saw the Norfolk Southern horsehead scheme, and when the idea of heritage units came up, they thought, why don't they take the Norfolk Southern horsehead and reverse it, have the front of the cabs painted in YN2 and the long hood be painted and faded into the past railroad's paint scheme. Now, that's just speculation. I can't confirm whether this is true or not, but it's possible. Also, on a side note, I've just noticed something. If you look to the side of the locomotives where you see the colors fade from YN3 to the Heritage Unit paint scheme, pattern kind of resembles CSX's old 1990s YN2 paint scheme. Pretty interesting, huh? Now everyone has their favorite and least favorite, which one they like and which one they don't like. For me, I like a good few of them, and some of the others I kinda question or kinda think they don't look appealing. But if I had to pick one of my favorites, I would have to say the B&O one, cause I just have great respect for our nation's very first railroad. In fact, some people say that 1827's paint scheme looks a little too busy, and I actually agree with that. They could have done a little less, but hey, it could have been much worse. Now, if it were up to me, I would take the CSX that's next to the numbers and put it to the side of the nose, maybe remove the number underneath the railroad name, and maybe remove the CSX logo underneath as well. That would look a little bit more better in my eyes. So, where does CSX plan to go from here? Well, it's been said that CSX plans to make 15 Heritage Units, and so far they made 6. We will just have to wait and see where the next one comes. So, for now, what do you say we start a conversation? What do you guys think of CSX's new Heritage Units? Do you think they're fantastic? Do you think that they're lazy? Do you think they could have done a different way? Or do you think that they're doing it as best they can? Whatever your thoughts are, sound off in the comments below. You guys know where I'm standing. I think CSX is doing something interesting and unique, and yes, not everyone's going to like it, and yes, there are some things they could have done better, but I think CSX deserves a fair chance. So sound off in the comments. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. Credit for the photos used in this video go to their respective owners. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you like it, maybe I'll do another one later on down the road. So until next time, this is where I get off. Have a good day.